Well, there are still too many talented women hidden behind their own beliefs that, one, they cannot make it to the top. Two, if they would go for the top, they would have to sacrifice their own values, their own personality, their own female energy. Third, most women do think that they have to be perfect to go for a promotion. And finally, they are even thinking that they have to wait for being proposed a promotion rather than asking for it. And in a mainly male business environment, women are still lacking mentoring opportunities and role models. Talented women are also hidden behind their managers' beliefs that if they don't ask for a promotion, it's just because they don't want it. And they are also hidden behind their managers' beliefs that you have to be tough to be a good leader and that women aren't tough enough. This is why our diversity initiative in Belgium is really aiming at convincing women not to be afraid to go for leadership roles, that it doesn't mean that they will have to sacrifice their own personality and their own values, that they have to raise their hand to say what they want and to go for it, to ask for it, that they have to learn on the job rather than waiting forever to be perfect for the job. And finally, once they have reached that level, to become role models, to convince other talented women that they should grab opportunities rather than just letting them go with frustration. When I started in the industry, I started as legal affairs manager and for another company than Pfizer. And I was working with the legal affairs director, a man, and we really liked working together. But after a few years, he left the company. But he convinced me that I had all the capabilities to apply for the job and replace him, which I did. I did apply, but I will never forget the reaction of the HR director at that time. He looked at me very surprised and told me, "Oh, you are a young woman. You will never be able to do that job. Just don't think about it anymore." I tried to argue, obviously, but in vain. And after a few weeks, a young male legal director has been hired with no experience in the industry at all. After 6 disastrous months with this newly hired legal director, the company decided to dismiss him. And the HR director came back to me, offering me the job finally, but apologizing as well and acknowledging his own unconscious bias that a young woman, a woman anyhow, certainly not a young woman, could make that job, could take those high responsibilities. And I gladly accepted the job and really appreciated his explanation and his apologies. But I did also realize how challenging and difficult it is for a woman, especially a young woman, to really convince others that she truly believes in herself, that she's really willing to take that high responsibility job, and also that she's able to do it. After another few years, I left this company and came and worked for Pfizer. And I became a mother at the same time, and I was still very passionate about my work. But I wanted to take the necessary quality time for my children as well. And I was absolutely convinced that I could manage both a leadership role at Pfizer and my family priorities if I would have been given the necessary flexibility to do so. So I started to negotiate with my supervisor, and it has been 6 difficult months of negotiations, honestly, but my message was very clear. Flexible work doesn't mean working less, it's just working differently. And I'm able to work differently with the same performance and even with a higher performance. So let me try, I can do it. So finally, after some time and a lot of energy, we agreed on a 6-month test period. And after that 6-month period, we agreed that it was a success. And my manager gave me the necessary flexibility for as long as needed. Flexible working schedules are reality now at Pfizer, and I'm truly convinced this is a key success factor of attracting and retaining talented colleagues, especially women colleagues. And this is how it all started for me, actually. And I thought, if I can do it, other women can do it as well. They just have to believe in it and go for it. As chair of our diversity initiative, as member of our leadership team, and as simple colleague, I hope to have always shown that a woman can be performant and a good leader while staying close to her values, her female energy and personality. I have always stood up for what I believe is important, even if I felt sometimes a bit lonely and frustrated not to be able to convince others as quickly as I wished. But I also always remained perseverant and optimistic that the message would become one day obvious for everybody. And frankly, I strongly believe that we are moving forward into the right direction. Well, the resistance came from different sides. From the women themselves, first of all, because some of them really felt stigmatized as the little, fragile little birds that needed to be protected against the mad males, and they didn't wish to be stigmatized as such, which I do understand. The resistance came also from men who felt stigmatized as the mad males I've just been talking about, and also they felt not included in the initiative and even discriminated because they couldn't understand why women had to be supported more or differently from them in advancing their career. And finally, the resistance even came from the leadership because it wasn't obvious for them why this initiative was necessary, because there are already so many women working at Pfizer and they didn't have the feeling to discriminate them. First of all, gender balance has nothing to do with discrimination. On the contrary, it's about acknowledging, managing, and even optimizing differences. Each gender has its own strengths and challenges, complementing each other ideally. Together, we are stronger, more performant, more innovative. So, open your eyes, your ears, your minds to any new perspective, to any other perspective, to make sure that you don't miss any opportunity to discover your own talent, but also the talents of those in your environment.